Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And today is Wednesday. Not a normal show that I usually do on Wednesdays. I was going to do one last night, but had some things going on, so I figured we'd pick up tonight. And graciously, Mr. David Null accepted the invitation. How you doing, Dave?
Doing fine. Greetings and blessings to all y'all out there. Hoping that you're doing as well as possible and trying to keep your head out of the chaos as much as you can.
Yeah, there's quite a bit coming at us, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I just try to, really, unless it's, something I can control, I'm not going to give it my time. It's not worth it. I got too many things in my control, out of control, much less the things that are not in my control.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
And I did a video yesterday and just I'm trying to give folks, listen, no matter what happens or how crazy things get in the supply chain and, that nasty, I ain't going to name it, but, that stuff over in China going on and all that kind of stuff, the chaos is ramped up just out of sight. And we got to, if we're going to be protected, we got to protect ourselves. And we got to stay out of that chaos as much as we can. Keep an eye on it. I ain't saying turn a blind eye, but man, we got to protect ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. And this is the time for the tribes to come together.
And
to give a segue into our title for tonight.
And I think you're starting to see those tribes come together.
We already are.
Oh, did you see the shirt, Dave?
Oh, I do now. Yeah.
It's like yours. Finally, actually, I ordered one, and then my mom ordered me this one. So I still got to get a Be the Frequency. I need to order those this week. But how's yours? Is it still standing up good? I'm curious about since you've continually washed it, because man, it seems like really good quality.
Yeah, and about the last time I said that, Breaking Dawn and I were talking about it. And I was like, I said about the color and everything, but the last time I washed my shirt, and we recycle water. So anyway, I washed them, shirts in a bucket, whatever. I haven't quite got to fixing the old wringer wash machine yet, but I was noticing it keeps an eye on, if things are fading, right? Mm-hmm. And so you just hand washing a t-shirt, okie dokie. And it was like, by the time I got done, the water was red. And I was like, that's not good,
No,
So, but anyway, it still looks good, but there was a lot of color came out, and I don't use much soap. I just use enough in a bucket and clean it, it's fine. But anyway, just passing that along.
I don't trust those red dyes anyway, man. Those red dyes are notorious anyway. So
Yep. So I'm not really putting it down because I really like this shirt. I really do. But I was surprised to see that much dye in with just a hand washing, So anyway.
Like I said, all the ones that I picked were the highest quality ones. I didn't pick any cheap shirts. I know that. So
they wear well.
They're really comfortable. Yeah,
they're really comfortable. So in that respect, you done good, my brother. Hey, look, dyes will come out of clothes. That's just a normal thing. I got a pair of blue jeans, and every time I wash them, it's like, where's all that blue coming out from? And it's not dirt, it's blue. The dirt's black.
Man, I'm telling you, it's just the manufacturing of clothes now. Everything cheap.
They don't set the dyes the same way. The dyes back in the day, you couldn't get a shirt to fade hardly. I don't know what they did to it back then, but oh my God,
Yeah. I remember when back in the day when you'd buy blue jeans and they were so blue they were almost black.
Yep.
and now you buy them and they look like buy them and they look like a tractor run over them.
I got a pair of jeans that's probably 25 years old at least, and I can't wear them. I got a little bit too big a gut. But I can't believe I was that skinny back then, or that I've gained that much weight. But anyway, I was a skinny little run at 135 pounds, soaking wet with rocks in my pocket. So, and I'm only 100, maybe 165, 170 now. So I didn't gain that much over the years. But the blue jeans, though, it's like they're still blue jeans. And I've got a pair that's only a couple of years old, and they're like faded out, the yin yang. And I'm like, well, there you go. But
like I said, that's just with anything, I mean, especially now that everything's made in China. Let's see who we got with us so far. There's Saturnian Sun. What's going on, buddy? Pure Love Ascension. How you doing? Johan. David Castle. What's going on, buddy? Shannon Kling. How you? Miss Delaney. How you doing, hon?
cosmic hugs, everybody.
What's that?
I said cosmic hugs, everybody.
Absolutely. Michelle Cannon Free, Elsie Darling, what's going on, hon? Robin Hill, good to see you. Tony Cherie, good to see you again. Miss Tribal 444, good to see you as well. What else we got going on? Shoot, the back's hurting a little bit today. What else we got going? I'm still, there we go. Our Station Z, what's up, my man? Gemini Ascension, good to see you. Candy Apple. We got a few with us so far. I figured before we get going, I'd like to show a couple images. I ended up taking a little excursion today with my mom and my stepdad, and I was tired all day, but it was absolutely worth the trip. I ended up running across. We went to this place called Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and lo and behold, they have the whole downstairs was nothing but crystals. Now, I didn't take a bunch of pictures of it or anything, but I just want to show you some examples of what they did have. This was one of those big geodes. This one wasn't that big. It was probably maybe 2 feet tall or something like that by about 1.5 feet. $625. I was like, holy cow. Let's see what else. This is cool right here, though, I thought. Fossilized ammonite matrix. And look, what's that right there? The spiral. What is it called? The Fibonacci sequence?
Yep, the spiral of life.
Yep. And look at this, a radioactive Jurassic dinosaur bone. And this woman that came out, oh my Lord, like she totally took to us. She was all about the crystals, and she just lit up when I went in and I wanted to get a piece of moldavite, and I wanted to go somewhere where it was actually, I knew it would be authentic. And I got this little piece right here. And if anybody knows, moldavite is not cheap. That little piece right there was $15. You can get little shards of it. And I mean a shard, and it was $5. But I wanted to get a piece of moldavite, and so I got that. But anyway, this woman, she brought out this fossilized dinosaur poop. I mean, they had meteorites, everything. So definitely going to be worth a trip back. What's this? It's something stony meteorite. That's one of the meteorites right there. And that was just some various other crystal things. Like I said, I was really looking at the prices because we're going to be doing that crystal dig. And well, for instance, like this piece right here. I don't know if y'all can see it on the small camera. I'll show you again here in a minute. That piece right there, that's a pretty big piece. You can see right here, I think. Well, no, I don't have any pictures of that. But a piece like that was like $300 to $600. And right here, like I know y'all seen Sanji. This blew my mind. This right here is the same size as this black one or that rose quartz one. So anywhere in between $650 and $1,100 for those crystal skulls. That just blew my mind. And I mean, right here, that one was for sale. I don't know what it says it's made of. Deuterite. They had, I mean, like, dude, this place was great. I got one more picture to share with you. Oh, this is another one of the crystal skulls. And that was deuterite too. That one, it was 1,100. And that's the same size. I didn't know those things were that expensive. So that was our little excursion. Oh, let me show you this. Look at the skies today. It was all clouds. And then My mom was like, look behind you. She went in the store and I looked behind me and this is what I saw.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I told you, man, they don't play around up here, dude. It's like, it's every day, every day. I
We
mean,
don't get it that bad down here, knock on wood. Some days are pretty bad, but man, oh man.
yeah, they love us up here. So anyway, there was that one. It's crazy, isn't it? But anyway, I just wanted to share those with y'all before we go, and that's what I ended up doing today. And had a lot of time. Like, I always like to spend time with my mom and my stepdad. We had a pretty good time. Like I said, I was tired, and so they probably didn't think I was in the best of moods, but I was. I had a good time. So thank you, Mom. Anyway, that was my excursion today. What's Dave been into?
Well, let me give a 10 cent because I'm an old rock hound from a long way back, and there are some rock shops on out of the way places. There was one up in North Georgia. I don't know if the old man's still there, but the more nicer the place is, the higher the more expensive it's going to be. They have to pay for their overhead, so
Yeah,
you can bet that a smaller shop might have some stones just to not push people away from this, but they might not be near as expensive. So, but anyway, I just want to toss that out there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, actually, I got to talk with Marsha Price and finally getting some information on that. And I think it's going to end up being a successful trip, and there's more interest than I thought was going to be in it. But really, I mean, we're going to have camping options, and discounted hotel options. And I was talking with her, and I was asking because there's a lot of those big masses, big bundles of crystals that you can find in. I mean, of course, you can find the small ones and all that, but sometimes they come out in big masses, and they'll actually use their equipment to take it out for you. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Clusters.
Yeah, there you go. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'll have more information on that in the coming week or two. So, but yeah, I am planning for around mid to the third week of May. The third week of May is my birthday, so I figured what would be a better birthday present than get together with all my friends.
That's a good idea. And I've been to Arkansas on that week, just before Memorial Day.
Okay.
And it's best to go just before the crowd hits because Memorial Day starts summer and the Ozarks they just get packed. Yep. So for those of us who don't have kids in school, to go the third week of May before the Memorial Day is a good idea.
Agreed. Well, I wanted to kind of keep it then because, for camping and that way it's not too hot. Yeah, I mean, I remember it was still hot in May last year, but I mean, it's not miserable and all the bugs ain't out and all that yet, or full blast, or we'll hope. Of course, bugs ain't been that bad the past few years anyway, or not.
They have down here, but that's another story. We're in a different time. I swear we're in a different time zone or something around here, but yeah, my many trips to Arkansas, I can tell you that for camping, they have ticks out there that are like all over the place. They literally fall out of the trees. Now, not to put folks off, but you better be prepared if you're going to go anywhere in the outside out there. You better have some spray. You need to spray. You have to spray. You must spray, and you must do a tick check 3 times a day. And it doesn't hurt to do a 4th. So, and you're just going to have to strip down and let somebody check you out and not be too embarrassed about it because getting tick bit is not fun,
This is true.
But I don't want to put anybody off about it, but because you can get ticks damn near anywhere. But I swear per acre, there were more in Arkansas than anywhere else I've camped. I was surprised. I was shocked, actually. But anyway.
Yeah, they take it by a year whether they're bad here or not, or it seems to be. They're not near as bad as they used to be, though. So, but anyway, let's get into the meat of the matter.
Yes.
So, anyway, I called it the Gathering of Tribes, and to be honest with you, that's kind of a broad area, but the reasoning I had behind it is, of course, a gathering of or the collective, and like-minded people such as ourselves. We've come together. We've got our little tribe. But not only that, I mean, around the world, I mean, you've seen it over the passing years, how, especially with technology, how it's kind of pushed everybody away from those personal relationships. But it seems like it's cliquey, everything's cliquey. Even within this community, it's cliquey. I mean, that's just human nature. But not only that, there's a separation and division going on around the planet. And I think that's why you've seen a lot of these riots and stuff. And of course, I mean, that's human behavior too, but they're pushing, I hate saying they and all that, but anyway, there's some kind of agenda going on. There's some play at hand, and you're starting to see these disruptions around the world. The rioting. You saw the fires in California this past summer. You're seeing them in Australia. The Amazon was on fire. There was flooding. There's food shortages. All this is leading up to something big, I believe. And I'm not trying to spread fear out there by any means. I'm trying to promote preparation, and not just with food. And my big thing is spiritually, but food, preparation for anything in that matter. Do you not feel something big coming, Dave?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do. And it kind of backs up some of the things that I saw back in 2013 with some of them heavy duty visions I was having back then. And I've been praying against this, like this isn't going to really happen. But everything that I've done in my life is to prepare for right now. We've got solar energy. It was nice and warm in the house. Had to open up a window. It's so damn warm. We're working on greenhouse porches and fixing up the buildings around here, and working on getting indoor growing, not just the garden outside.
Yep.
Because there's just too many variables outside anymore. We've talked about the gardening thing before, but Miss Deb, Breaking Dawn, has helped me out with this, and it's been slow, but we're both elderly people, but we're still working on it, and I refuse to give up on the goal.
Right.
Regardless of the hurdles that come our way, we need to overcome them. For every single thing, and this is, I said this in a video yesterday, but it's very important. The times that I've been stuck in the wilderness and things, when I cut my finger last year and blood spurting all over the place, and I wanted to panic for 5 minutes, I was like, I did nothing but try to calm down. And when I did, I took care of the situation, and it wasn't as bad as the panic that set in at the time. So, but people need to be prepared mentally along with spiritually for whatever may come. And if they want to, if their first reaction is to panic, then the chaos will just overtake their brain, and they won't be able to make wise decisions. They'll be panicked. And well, I don't know. This is it. And to speak about the tribe, from what I've learned of Native American tribes. Now, I am not an expert, but I have studied for many years, over 20 years. So I'll give you what I know. Within the tribes, the people look out for each other. If you're part of the tribe and are a functioning member, you contribute something. Everybody must contribute something. You just can't sit back all the time and expect somebody to do it for you. That don't work.
Yeah.
You must be a contributing member, some way, shape, or form. Now, the little old ladies watch after the kids, and they sew and they make baskets. They can't go out and gather anymore. But the younger folks go out and do the gathering and the hunting and the thingy and the thising and all the heavy work. So, but everybody's got some kind of a task that makes them part of the tribe. So one of the things we need to understand is, as individuals, it's very important that we are individuals. But as a collective, as a tribe, we all have something to contribute to the whole.
Yeah, and you can even apply that to spirituality in general, like how a lot of people try to compare their past with others. We're not going to have those same pasts because we all bring something different to the plate.
Absolutely. And we should welcome that. But at the same time, I've noticed there are just, I look at a lot of places, and I've noticed that there are some people, and God forbid, if I've asked them, strike me down if I ever get that way, but that I'm holier than thou. It's like I've learned all these things, and now look at me. I've become holier than thou. And oh, hell no. I'm still a shaman in training. I'm still learning every day. Now, do I have many years of experience? I'm 67. I ought to have a few, those brain cells I didn't kill back in the day. But at the same point, though, there are people have information within them, and I always end my videos with the prayer about accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom from the universe. And the thing is that when you get into situations where you want to panic, you may already have the knowledge to get yourself out of it. So trust yourself. But if you don't understand who you are, then you're not going to be able to tap into that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm seeing a lot of people in chat talking about this tense feeling and stuff lately. And I don't know, today, like, I attributed it at first to, I don't eat well. I eat once a day. I'm not that I don't eat well, but I eat once a day, and
Right.
I eat early this morning, and I don't ever eat breakfast. I usually don't eat up until the evening. So, my stomach kind of got upset earlier, but after I kind of was feeling into it, it wasn't that. I just, there's an uneasiness in the air, like, and I know there's a retrograde going on and I don't know all the energies tied in with this retrograde. But has anybody else felt like an uneasiness?
Yes. And what I've noticed, and glad you brought it up, there are other channels who don't normally talk about this kind of stuff, who are right in their titles are saying, do you feel uneasy lately? Have you had some strange energies hit you lately? Like, what? I mean,
they never mention it.
They not in their titles. I mean, so there's been a how do I put this? There's been another step up of awareness, maybe, where people are going, I've been watching all this stuff. I'm just saying, other YouTube channels and folks and places, and on DTube and things, But the idea, though, that there are people who have become aware of certain things, and they've been aware of it for so long, I think they've made it a little step up. Because now they're saying, I'm aware of energies around me. They didn't say that a couple of years ago. And until recently, it'll be almost a year now, that, we've spoke about this several times, that people, back in June of last year, felt some kind of change. We couldn't put our finger on it. But see, now it seems like there are other people, I hate to use this term, but it's almost like they're catching up with us.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's to be expected. Or at least I would think so.
Well, those of us who are trying to be tuned in are obviously going to hear that signal sooner than someone who's not.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to put anybody down that they're, quote, catching up to us, because I'm not holier than thou.
Yeah.
We are equal in this, but we all have our own level of understanding because of our previous experience. And there are a lot of people who are still pushing this past life thing. Now, I got to say that there are a lot of things that I've learned from some of my past life regressions and things, and self-hypnosis and other stuff. But what matters now is who I am now and the knowledge that I have attained right here. Yep. The old knowledge, when I take care of me, this person now, the old knowledge seems to just creep in all by itself. I don't have to go look for it. It's already there.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Well, it's like, I was listening to, I think it was Wayne and Trina the other day, and they were talking about how, communicating with spirit and everything. And they were realizing that basically they're, communicating with their higher self. And I was like, see, and like I said, people pick up with different things at different times. And I kind of got a little, I guess, just a clarification for myself. I've always been hard on myself. And, like when I first started trying to meditate, and then I was, trying to push it, and it never would come until I finally just said, screw it. And that's when it finally came. But, I've been on this big crusade lately about, if you're worried about politics and this religion and all these things that they talk about on the news and all that, then there's a long way to go for your enlightenment process. And there was an old thing called Zatar or Vitar 1, and it was a Taoist and Buddhist, and they said the object of life was to be the master of one's thoughts. When you could finally realize that in the end, this body's gonna die anyway, so whatever happens on this plane doesn't really matter, then you're truly the master of your thoughts. And that's why I've keep saying the only thing that really matters. And I know that people want to cover all these topics, and I like things like that too, but really the only thing that matters right now is your spirituality.
Yeah. And as I've been discussing, but it is really important right now that people don't lose their core values, that they don't panic. And going back to that energy that we're feeling, let me explain something. There's 350 million, more or less, documented people in the United States. So you think half of them people are scared out of their wits. So there's all that psychic energy. Now you think about China. A third of the manufacturing has been shut down. A third, and they've got 1.2 billion or something. Let's just keep it at a billion. That's 333 million people, more than the population of the United States, are out of work, not doing, sick, worried, locked in their houses, and they're in deep doo-doo. We think we got it bad.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's just another piece of this puzzle with all the food shortages, fires, blah, blah, blah. Now manufacturing, our biggest manufacturer in the world, has basically been shut down.
Yep.
All of these pieces are coming together right now.
Now, here's one thing, and I have supported Trump in this. I don't support Trump in everything, but what he has tried his best to bring manufacturing back to the United States. He has done everything he can to bring stuff. My job went overseas back in 2005. I went to Mexico, but a lot of other jobs went overseas. We've talked about this before. But in that, so we have become so reliant on the overseas market, we don't even have shoe manufacturers anymore. We don't make computer chips here. If anything goes down and they shut off, we're not getting anything from Taiwan, China, them folks, Hong Kong. We're not getting anything. If you're working on something electronic, you want a new motherboard or something, it ain't going to come.
Yep.
That's just one thing. But the idea, though, that there's so many gizmos and gadgets that we've become used to that flood our markets every day. I mean, go in the Dollar Tree store, for crying out loud, and look at all the junk that comes in. I'm guilty of buying that crap, and now I'm throwing it away. But the thing is, though, that Americans are going to have, and folks from other places too, but I think Americans are going to be surprised when it's called just in time, JIT. And Toyota came up with it many years ago in the automotive industry. And I worked in the automotive industry, and it's called just in time. So you only have enough stuff stacked in a warehouse for a week.
Yeah, we've discussed this before.
Right. So the idea, though, that in automotive, it has gone down the line to all facets of everything.
Yep.
Food production, delivery, they don't house any extra because the warehouses cost money. So there are things sitting on docks in ports, now we find out, all over the world now, that aren't going anywhere.
Look at Puerto Rico. They had all those hurricanes things down there, and they found warehouses full of food. Real quick, I just want to say welcome to What Is Happening and Randall Herman. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry. First time
But
yours.
anyway, but this idea though, I can only suggest, because I've been in manufacturing, and last year I pointed out in my video yesterday that last year after the hurricane, some items in the local stores here, it took a month to restock them. You know, I mean, it was just certain canned goods, certain this and that and the other thing. The Dollar General stores, which normally keep a good stock, they were backed up. They couldn't get supplies in. And the stores, I mean, they lost millions of dollars in some of these stores in their inventory and stuff. It was just amazing.
I swear, General is the new Walmart Junior. Them things are everywhere, everywhere.
Yep. And I wish
as plentiful as McDonald's.
I said 10 years ago, if the CEO of Dollar General will expand on it, he'll put Walmart out of business. I haven't been to a Walmart in almost a year.
I go to Dollar General. I ain't gonna lie.
Me too. I
just can't stand Walmart, man. I hate that place. God. So, but yeah. So that falls right in line. That's what I'm saying. I mean, all this is a prelude, and it's been, you know, it's hard to believe though that this has all been in plan for all this time, like since civilization started.
Well, I did a video, not to keep promoting me, but
promote the hell out of you.
But the idea, though, that I learned about how bad the Deep South actually got hit with the 1917, 1918 flu epidemic. And I talked with local people who were, this has been 20 years ago now, but I talked, actually more than that, but I spoke with some old timers that are probably dead now that knew folks who died in their family because of it. You know, they were, were born in, they were little kids at the time, but right. Their grandma told them and their mama told them how it was. And Uncle Jeb and his two brothers died on the same day and blah, blah, blah. And they're buried. That's why I wondered why there were so many small cemeteries just dotted all over down here on properties. If you go in and look at some of those little family cemeteries, a lot of people died within a 2-year period. And they just didn't have time to take them to the church or the thing. They just buried them out back, and they had to make a cemetery. But anyway, they estimated, that close to a third of the population got sick and died. Now, that was back then. Holy crap. And people on the islands in the South Pacific were dying from it. And they didn't have airplanes back then. So pandemics have been around for a long time. Now, whether or not this one is man-made, cajoled, I don't even want to go there.
There's patents on it.
Right. Well, but to my point, though, there are natural stuff that has wiped us out before, too.
Oh, yeah. And now, it's constantly evolving.
Yes. Yes. So the best thing to do is keep yourself healthy. Keep yourself strong, spiritually, mentally, physically. Keep yourself strong. Because if you're sick, you can't help anybody, not even yourself. If you're spiritually sick, if your energy's low, you can't help anybody else, and there's going to be a need for everybody, the tribe. And as we are a league of like-minded beings in a tribe with you, Brian, and all you wonderful, funky people out there, inside joke. But to the point, though, we're already sticking together, so our collective is helping, and we need to keep that glue going. You know what I mean? I'm all the time trying to pat people on the backs, but I think it's important because, you may not have achieved what you think you should have achieved or done or spiritually or whatever. Don't worry about it. Are you still walking in the same direction? Now, if you've turned around and walked backwards, we got a problem here. But if you can look around yourself and say, I'm still walking, whatever path you're on, in the same direction I need to go. It may be baby steps. I may have had to stand still, but are you thinking I still want to be a better person? I still want to help people. If that core value is still there and you're working on trying to get it better within you, take every day as it comes. Don't worry about it. What did I do in the past? Who cares? Literally, because right now, be here now.
Present in the moment.
How the past, it's just knowledge. But tomorrow, the next thing I say out of my mouth, I mean, every second in our future, we can collectively
manipulate.
That's the word I was trying not to use. I love you, my brother. Yes, I was like, don't even think it out loud, and you picked it up.
I'm getting ready to start that telepathy thing. I've got at least the first month of the what do you call it? I've got the first month set up. Now, I figure we'll go one night a week, because I know it's hard for some people to make it a couple nights a week. So we'll start off slow and go to night a week. But I've got some good stuff lined up, man. I'd like for you to join us on that if you got time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So should be interesting. And I mean, like I've told people, I think we're already communicating telepathically.
Yes, we are. I mean, there's too many other people who go, wait a minute, I just said that in the chat or something, It's happening with all of us in certain ways. And, years ago, somebody asked me when I first started on the journey, I'd taken a lot of acid, eaten a few mushrooms, and they were asking me, what's it like? And I said, well, it's like finding different radio stations out there. Some radio stations are really funky, man, and you just like want to get down, and then you turn on the horror channel, by mistake, and you can't get off that bitch. That's a bad trip, but there are more things in the universe than we could ever imagine with our tiny little brains. But to worry about it is just like, that's insanity. Now, I've been there. I've worried about it, and what about it this, and what about it that. But what it all boiled down to in all of my wisdom is I got to be strong myself. It's not about being a narcissist about this, or, oh, look at me. No, I have to be a better person. I have to keep my spiritual energy up. I have to stay focused on what my path is. And everything else it'll work it out. It may not fall in line, but it will work out.
Yep. I agree. It's working out now. It just, sometimes it may not seem like it, but for the better good, I believe it is working out. Otherwise we wouldn't have came together.
Right. And I wouldn't have started doing any of this if I hadn't, there are so many things in the works, and there are so many things on so many levels. And Brian, you've had enough trips to know there are different levels out there in the universe. Yeah. Just saying. And they gave me a picture one time, and I've discussed it, but it's like different planes, and everything meets at one point. There can be a million different planes of reality, but there'll be one single point where they all kind of touch or come together. But basically, that's the only point that makes them like us, or that's the only thing we share. But every other plane of existence, reality, be it third, fourth, fifth dimension, however you want to put it, each one of those planes or dimensions are separate unto themselves. And so we're in the 3D world right now. Oh, holy crap. So when we get to 4, 5, and 6, each one of those is going to be a whole new lesson. It's going to be a whole new lifetime. And to worry about this one, I just want to make sure I'm ready for the next one. So I don't have to sit in preschool for very long, I'd like to at least go to first grade,
Let's see. Let me see if I can find that thing.
Go ahead.
Did you see that 12 dimensions of consciousness I went over last week?
I'm not sure.
Oh man. I don't know. Keep talking. I'll find it. I want
Well,
I want to go over this because we're already going through a lot of these.
Yes. I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and I'm only bringing that up because it's a couple of weeks ago, Deb and I were talking about this, and I said, things just seem to not be going like forward or backwards. Things are going like sideways. And I talked about it, and I said, is anybody else feeling like this? And it wasn't a bad thing, but we were having like deja vu moments that weren't really deja vu. So it was like, wait a minute, but we both experienced a similar event at the same time. And it was like, okay. And it was with our friends, and it was almost like the scene was going along normal, and all of a sudden it just stopped, and it replayed for about 2 minutes. And we like watched it go over again. And my two friends were surprised, and but it was like, we talked about it later on, and I was like, wasn't that a strange event? And I mean, it wasn't a deja vu. It was like somebody hit replay. They hit the little back button on the dial, and it only goes back a few frames, and it replay. I didn't see the closed caption, but I was like, holy crap. And we both noticed it at the same time, which is interesting. Not that we both noticed it, but I mean, it was like, it wasn't just one of us that saw it or experienced it. We both saw something, felt something. And my video in it, I was trying to describe, it seemed like, I don't know, not forwards or backwards or up or down. It seems like we're sliding sideways. And I can't explain it anything more than that. But other people are starting to talk about this energy, like they're out of place. Well, that's sort of what I mean, I guess, in that, instead of being forward or back, you're out of place. It's like, you think I'm sitting in the chair when actually I'm sitting over there on the couch or something. I'm still in the room, but I'm in a different location. And I go, whoa, my reality says, I thought I was sitting in the chair. No, I'm sitting on a stool instead. Well, how did I get here? Anyway.
This is different than what I had brought up the other day. I can't find the one that I had bookmarked because I've got too much crap bookmarked. But anyway, we won't go over the first couple, but you can see here the third dimension. This is the realm of form. The conscious mind of humans in the higher animal kingdom resonate at this level. The awareness of self as a separate entity begins, but due to the limitations of the third dimensions, we are unable to remember our past lives. Hence, go to the fourth dimension. This is the realm of time. Some call it the astral plane. This is the level of focus, information, form, and change. This is also the dimension of the subconscious mind, and one where one can tap into, have advanced psychic abilities. That's where I think we're at. Pretty much. Yep. In between the third and fourth, more towards the fourth.
Fourth, yep. Kindergarten.
And then here, look, the fifth. This is the realm of spirit. It's the possibility of multiple timelines and the constant that is the same in all of them. This is the dimension of the unconscious mind. The awareness of the spirit starts to appear at this level. Remembering our higher selves is often felt in this dimension. I mean, see, there's tendencies there that I'm already experiencing.
And have been.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like when I went through this the other night, basically, I think it was up to the ninth. No, not the ninth. I guess it was the seventh dimension. Yeah.
Let me throw this in here. This is someone's opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Just got to say that.
Yeah.
Because there are many of us. I mean, I know some young people who are already diving into the fifth dimension, if that were true. But the whole point is we cannot imagine what it is because we're having trouble with this one. So trying to imagine what the fourth dimension is like is trying to imagine what skydiving would be like to a whale.
Right.
He's like, what? You want to?
like I've said before, I think that may explain the Mandela effect. While, you know, in the third dimension, we witness and we remember something this way, but when we're merging into the fourth, that's why we see it as something else.
I think that along the way, there have been some very bad damage to timelines. And recently, in looking around, it seems like the Mandela effect has kind of slowed down. And there have been some folks who said that last year, you know, about this time last year, almost about a year ago, where that the timelines were being repaired. So how do we know that that's true? So from my point of view, I've been watching. So it's like they also promised that the aliens were going to show up and we were going to have a big party. That ain't happened yet. But I have noticed, though, that timelines don't seem to be as funky as they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The Mandela effect is still around, but it's not near as heavy as it was. Because I was spotting stuff all over the place. And now it's sort of like, well, it's sort of calmed down a little bit. Maybe we've gotten to a stable timeline is my point.
You know, or I wonder if it could be our place in the galaxy. I mean, you know, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes, and part of it, no. The no is that there are entities way beyond our recognition, you know, that would sort of put God to shame in a way. You know, some people's concept of who God is, like he's just a lieutenant, you know, to some of these guys. And so I'm talking about ancient builder race and so forth. Not every one of them guys was like a cool dude or dudette, you know, or cool entity. Not necessarily, because there's yin and yang in all things in the universe. And as much as we'd like to get rid of all the pain and agony and sorrow and bullshit, it ain't gonna happen. There's gonna be somewhere. Somebody is going to be on the yang side, or you know what I mean, whatever opposite we are. But understanding that our presence is in the now and our awareness, because there are a lot of spiritual leaders. Let's talk about Jesus for a second. After he was crucified, he came back. He was said to have appeared to many different people, and all there are even Native American tribes that talk about this gentleman who came to visit them. And so, was it actually Jesus or somebody else? Well, they were visited, let's put it there. By whom? Someone higher up that had more knowledge. I hate to use the word control, but in their knowledge, there is control. Now, but there are still entities that don't want the good side to win. And so, there, you know, this battle between good and evil ain't going to stop. There will have respites between the battles. That's why in Revelations, I've always questioned, they said, well, when all of this stuff happens, there's going to be 1,000 years of peace. And my thought was, why only 1,000 years? Because shit happens in the universe. And that's maybe all they could guarantee. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Sorry, let's see. Listen to this. Amanda B says, a gyroscope model. You have flat Earth in a sphere with an upper and lower. Amanda B, are you turning into a flat earther on me? Here's my thing on flat Earth. And to be honest with you, who cares what the Earth is? I mean, it really doesn't matter, number one. But number two, I think it's harder for me to believe that there's a big glass dome over a flat plane. That's harder for me to believe than anything else.
I cannot take the snow globe thing. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I've tried. I've looked. There's some compelling. But see, here's that part of that thing where a few years ago, when the Mandela effect really started taking place, I think people got stuck on certain timelines, and in their reality, that Earth is real. And I'm like fine with that. You know, but at the same point, y'all have to understand that us globalists, round earth people, thingy, whatever, we are still on this timeline. But I will accept that yours is possible. Just so I can't buy it, but okay.
I've said that before. I've said in my reality, the earth is a globe, but in your reality, the earth could be flat.
Yes,
It's
I
the
agree.
reality that we perceive.
Yeah, because we all will admit these last 10 years have been kind of strange, you know? I mean, ever since 2009, things have been kind of strange, you know?
Yeah.
And and it's going to take us a while to get back out from under it. This thing with the manufacturing and stuff sitting overseas, I think, I hate that the tragedy makes people actually look, but I think Americans are going to go, you mean we don't make that over here? And they're going to go, what? You mean there is going to be a ground swelling of people going, we can't make that. We don't have the machine. We've got a shitload of people here. I mean, I'd even go back to work part-time if I could work in a machine shop or something, but there aren't any. You know, back in the day, they would hire old guys like me because we knew tricks. There aren't any machine shops. But to the point, though, what I think I hate to say it, but this tragic event might wake a crap load of people up on a lot of other levels to wait a minute. How did we get in this situation?
Yeah, and that's like, well, and me and Wayne are supposed to be doing a show on it at some point. The culling has already taken place. You're seeing it in action.
Yes. Well, it's been going on for a while. They tried it with HIV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and SARS and
polio.
And every one of those diseases have a patent. Every one of them are man-made. So they love us, folks.
So I mean, you know, anybody for a vaccine?
I believe I'll take my chances.
That's right. You know, so take care and like let me give a little 10 cents on this supply chain thing. If look around in your own world and find out if there is something that you really need. Some of the drugs may be coming in from overseas. And if you're taking a certain antipsychotic or something, in 2 months, there might not be any. Period.
True.
There have been shortages back in the day with Ritalin and Adderall 15 years ago when I was on that for my issues. But there were times when you couldn't get one pill of Ritalin for 2 months.
I mean, think of this. So we're getting all of these, you know, America is the most overprescribed nation in the world. We're getting all these drugs from India and China, you know, and we've already seen that they have been messing with our food and things like that, just nastiness they're sending back. And, you know, I still find it hard to believe that we can grow pigs here, or chickens or whatever, send them to China to get them processed, and then them send them back, and it's still cheaper than us processing them here. That makes no sense.
I agree. But the good news is we've got a beef processing plant here in Moultrie, and there's 2 or 3 huge chicken processing plants. I've talked about that, but you know, from that standpoint, we ain't going hungry anytime soon down here. You know, they might not be able to ship it anywhere. We'll have plenty to eat because they'll have an overreach of chicken, but you know, they'll be giving the damn things away. But to the point though, you know, I won't even eat them because I see them raised. You know, I want to stick with certain things. You know,
and pigs are nasty, man. Pigs are nasty.
And if you see how they were raised on a slab, I used to work on a pig farm back in the day. So did my brother. He used to build the slabs and the farms themselves. He used to build them and work on the farm after it was done. So I said, no, I ain't looking at them. Pigs are smart, but they will eat each other in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, they'll eat anything. That's like, I've heard of them of people like murderers feeding human, the remains to the pigs because they'll eat everything, bones and all.
Yeah, but there was one time when I was first helping out on the feedlot there. I went down to the thing, and it was my job every morning to, throw a thing of feed in all of them and wash it down, and everything. And I got out there one morning, and I'm half asleep, I ain't had my coffee yet, and there's a half-eaten hog in one of the pens.
Oh my God.
And I went, that's it for me. Sorry. I don't think I'm going to eat pork chops tomorrow. It turned me off. But I got to say, though, I've had wild hog, wild pig. Oh, my God, it is so delicious. But that's another story.
Yeah, it is, though. I mean, that's like, I think, I like deer meat more than I'd rather eat it than anything else. I like that natural stuff. I like that wild flavor. That's just
and it's somebody was talking about gamey meat. And I was like, if somebody doesn't know how to clean a deer and they get the juice or whatever on the carcass or whatever, that meat's going to be tainted. And I don't care what you do to it, it ain't going to taste right. And there are people who don't know what they're doing, and they taint the meat themselves. So the gaminess, if the deer's been cleaned right.
Hearing.
Oh yeah, but it is the process. If they don't know how to carve it, cut it, gut it, and all that,
you gotta let them hang and cure for a couple of days. Let the blood drain out. That's the biggest part.
Yep.
Well, cool.
But with this thing about the tribe thing, I know we're going to have to wrap up here in a few minutes. This thing about the tribe, regardless if okay, let me put it to you like this. Native Americans, the old women and the old men are staying at the teepees, taking care of the young kids. Mm-hmm. The women are out gathering, and the hunters, they might go out for 2 or 3 days, maybe weeks at a time off on a hunting trip. Okay, so simply because they're away from camp, they're still a member of the tribe. So even though we may feel separated, is where I'm going with this, we're still members of the tribe.
Yep. So
when there are those, stories of people or, Native Americans, tribe, whatever, I will die to the death because I'm a Cherokee or I'm a Navajo or I'm a whatever, my pride in my tribe, regardless, they would never cross over. No, they literally would die for the honor and the right of their tribe. So regardless of where they were or what they were doing, they still had this internal knowledge that just never left them, regardless of what they were doing, that they family, tribe, no matter what. It was always with them.
Yep.
And so we don't necessarily have someone to give us that. So part of my job is to remind folks, listen, everybody, simply because we're separated by a little time and a little space in between, when Brian was thinking about that thought that I was trying not to have, it was instantaneous. It doesn't matter about how far away we are or whatever, but it's instantaneous.
Yep.
And so we're never alone. We're never apart. That is in our hearts and in our soul. But with all this chaos, it's going to try to rip us apart. And we've got to remember. In fact, about a week ago, I sent Brian a note just to make sure that he knew we were still out here and we still loved him. And, and it was like I just hadn't heard, hadn't been videos that I'd seen, maybe I'd missed, but I was like, well, I got to check in with Brian, make sure everything's okay. And we do that with each other.
Yep.
That's what holds us together. That's where we have our strength, regardless of whether or not YouTube works, regardless of whether or not the universe is going to burn up or whatever, we're still part of this tribe.
Yep.
Don't forget that, my friends.
Absolutely well said.
On that note,
I don't want to say nothing else. Just to be honest with you, I don't want to taint it.
Me and my big mouth sometimes, but no, I feel it. I don't just think it. I feel it, And there are times when I talk about, when I say, I always say, you know, I'm always praying for you guys. I am. And there's always a little mental clicky thing. People's names in the chat go by, folks who have subscribed to my channel or made a comment. All these folks, their little names and their little hashtaggy things or whatever, you know, go clicking by in my mind. And I send a prayer out to everybody, you know. And and it's not for myself or that I want anybody to adore me, oh God forbid, but that I do want us to be on the same page.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Yep. And everyone that's here, I mean, just remember, we are all connected. We all did find each other for a reason. And more than anything, remember from now on, you're not alone. I guarantee you, me, Dave, somebody in this community, I guarantee you can call upon. You're not alone anymore. So please always remember that. And remember,
don't forget it. If you think you're slipping, you gotta reach inside and say, nah, Brian and Dave said that no, I'm not alone. I mean, find something to grab onto and go, wait a minute, I'm just having a low day here or a low moment. And oh boy, if you don't think things are gonna get bouncy, hang on to your inner tubes, folks. But don't forget, if it starts to slip your mind, reach out to somebody.
Yeah, please don't let it sit there and boil and fester.
No, and don't, because you'll lose your grip. And there's too much going on right now. We all need to hang on to one another spiritually and mentally, and and I know that sometimes I've done a video, I'm like, oh, I'm about ready to get off, and I'll see 2 or 3 people pop on, and I'll like just hang out because they showed up, and I love it. It
don't take much for you to keep
hang out. Not that the other night I was like, I was kind of ready to leave, but I hung out a little longer because somebody else showed up. But I love it because people are coming not just for me, but they want to hang out with everybody else too. And that is, of all the things that I wished for, that's it.
That's why I like doing these live streams. And even when I'm going to start doing some informational videos, I've decided I'm going to put those out as a premiere because it's a chance for a community to come together. So I'm going to do everything from here on out. It'll be a chance for us to come together and talk with one another. I think that's important.
Yeah,
I'm glad that there's folks out there like yourself that keeps it going up into the night, because we got a lot of late night folks here too. So if you're not subscribed to David Null's channel, you need to get over there. It's just like we said, David Null, like in the title. So go over there and subscribe to him. I promise you folks, you will not regret it. Dave, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll get you back on here sooner rather than later. Folks, I'll be back Friday night. Until then, be the frequency you want to receive. And I love you all.
Cheers.
Have a good night.